Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Donald's Discussion with your favorite host, Guy and Ron. How's it going? We're back to doing this. If you're watching this, unfortunately, I do have to inform you that it is pre-recorded. Unfortunately, our schedules didn't really line up for Wednesdays again, or Tuesdays, which is why yesterday, from when this video goes up, there wasn't a new Star Wars video. We elected to do this instead because we haven't really just sat down and talked in a while. So
Yeah.
here we are. Um, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I'm sure as you don't care as I keep saying, and maybe one or two of our viewers do. I'm looking forward to the Euros, but
See, I
that's
was a
just
little bit
that's
offended
just
when you said, "As you probably don't care," and I was like, "Is he gonna talk about his feelings?" And I was like, "Oh no, the Euros, no, I genuinely don't."
yeah. See,
Uh,
I take you into consideration, my man. Don't worry.
thank you. I should do the same. Uh, should is the magic word, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a couple of things that we want to talk about today. There's one thing that I wanted to like bring up as like the first thing because I think it's probably quick to talk about and absolutely fucking hilarious. I found out something weird yesterday. Um, there was an article like last year or something like that. So you know how like Batwoman, Kate Kane
Hmm.
is Bruce's cousin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she's also Jewish, right?
Ah.
That basically like this has been one of the most like predominant thing about her is like she's openly Jewish. There's been a couple of times in comics as well where you can see her like celebrate the holidays and stuff like that. She's a lesbian Jewish woman. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh.
But there's very weird consequences to that, and I had to like find the links, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking hilarious. So she's her mother is Jewish,
Yeah.
right? Turns out, as is her father, right? Her father is also Jewish.
That means
To kind of explain, like to bring in an extra step that you've skipped to the same conclusion that I drew. Uh, Martha Wayne was born Martha Kane, which, by the way, is a very stupid thing. From Kane to Wayne, that's dumb. Anyway, Jacob Kane, Kate Kane's father, is her brother,
yeah.
which means that she is also Jewish, which means that Batman is
Batman is
technically a Jew.
the whole cow makes sense now.
Oh my god. So, in other words, like replacing Batman with a minority doesn't make any sense because he already is one.
Well,
Well
he's half
done.
of one. He's half of one. Because I assume
Technic
Thomas
tech.
Wayne is still Christian.
So Thomas Wayne is some. It is like a form of Christianity. Something starts with an E, like episcopal, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Um, the thing is, in terms of religion, maybe, but racially, um, according to like bylaws in the Old Testament, if your mother is Jewish, then so are you, regardless of who the father is.
Interesting. Okay.
So that makes him a Jew. So by that standard, like there's been like stories going around lately of like, you know, obviously like people on the left like to think that people like characters and think that they can relate to certain characters because they are of the same ethnicity. And so I can now confidently say for me that is definitely not true because even with this fact, I still don't really like Batman all that much. It doesn't
Yeah.
make me like Batman better in any sort of way,
Yeah.
but I
I've
thought it
never
was
understood
funny.
the whole relating to someone because of their race or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's weird. Like I saw this thing today actually as well. There's this Twitter feud between Young Ripper, who is like this. I think I talked about him before. He like has his own podcast where he talks about like
Yeah.
comics and like the left and stuff like that. And someone called Brianna Wu, who I don't know all too well, so I can't really say too much about her. But basically, he posted a thing on Twitter where basically he posted a picture of No, he retweeted the thing from Marvel where like they're doing the Captain America thing right now where they have like different Captain Americas and all that.
Yeah.
And so one of them was like a Filipino Captain America, and he was like this, like he said this publisher is dead, like he was done with it. And then she pointed out that in some of his videos where he's like talking to the camera, where he's like not doing the podcast necessarily, but like having an actual video, um, he stands in front of a Luke Cage poster, and she was like, "If you want to be represented, why do you deny other people from being represented?" He said, "I don't. Are you assuming that I like Luke Cage because he's black? Because he's black as well." And it's like she went on this whole tirade where like she ended up like making the argument where he like is against inclusivity, and then debated that argument, and then won her own argument when that wasn't really what was going on. His point of view was like tokenization of characters, and he was
Yeah.
like, "It's still racist to think that I like Luke Cage because I'm black."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very funny in that way, and it makes no sense as well because Luke Cage is actually a really decent character. Quite like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Luke Cage is a good character. I think. Sorry, I've just thought of a random shitty joke, but what Filipino Captain America, and I can also imagine Mexican Captain America at some point, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, so
There probably is.
Captain Gardner is on.
Yeah. Do you know there is a Mexican character
He's
called
just got, instead
America?
of a shield, he's got a lawnmower.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh no. But there is a Latino character called America. Her name is literally America. Her powers are opening doors to other universes and shit. I don't even know. It sounds boring as fuck, to be honest with you. She's going to be in the That's the one thing I'm worried about. Is she's going to be in the new Doctor Strange film?
Yeah, but is it like she's going to be in the new Doctor Strange film, or she's going to be in the new Doctor Strange film?
I think it's the latter. I hope it's the latter.
Yeah, so it's more like, yeah, she's in it, but
Yeah.
she's not like the main thing about it. Because I imagine the two main characters are going to be Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. I imagine anyone else is going to be just a supporting character or secondary. Well, those two plus the villain, obviously, but
Yeah.
whoever that will be.
I'm kind of thinking she'll probably be in the film in the same way that Bruce Campbell's character from I think Ash vs Evil Dead is going to be in that film, like that same amount.
Yeah.
Which is like one scene.
But yeah, God, the whole being inclusive for the sake of being inclusive, as we've talked about, just never makes any sense.
It never makes any sense.
Just make good characters and people will like them. Doesn't matter who they are or what they are.
Like it's that kind of thing.
Sure.
It's like, will people then look at me and go like, "Hey, you've got white skin. You've got Chris Hemsworth in the back. Like, do you like him because he's white?" And it's like, no, I like him because I like the film. Also, I don't have this poster because of Thor necessarily. Like, that's a weird assumption. What if I have it for Hulk? You know? He was an important character in the film. It's not true, but, you know.
Nicely done.
Yeah, thanks. Gotta represent the green people.
Sure, man. Because what was it I was gonna say? It's like, so wait, in DC now, so what? Flash is Jewish, Batman is Jewish.
Yep.
That in terms of the Justice League. Hal Jordan, I don't think he is.
No, he
could
isn't.
be.
He could be, but I don't think he is.
I think he's just white Christian at this point. Superman
is not Jewish, but is very much written to the idea of like, you know,
Christianity.
No, well, Superman, I think, very much reflects the story of Moses.
Yeah.
Like in quite literal terms.
Yeah, well, I think because the thing is with Superman, I think because basically alien crash lands in Kansas, raised by, let's be honest, Martha and Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
Are probably Christians.
They are, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's fucking Kansas, like.
Yeah, he would have been raised as a Christian.
Yeah.
But it's more because I think the start, Superman's journey is like in two parts. I think the start is Moses, comes from another world.
Yeah.
Comes to this one, is raised in this one.
Yeah, literally in a basket.
Yeah, literally in a basket. And then it does switch, however, when he does die and comes back to life. So I
Yeah.
think it's more. I think Superman is one of those figures where everyone's like, "Oh, you can tie this religious figure to him." It's like you can tie a lot of them to him
Mm.
because he has a lot of like a lot of his inspiration comes as a character comes from those figures
Yeah.
because he is such a messiah, savior like godlike individual himself. So it makes sense if he draws from all of them and not just one or two of them
Yeah.
in some form or fashion.
Um. Let's see.
Whereas like Wonder Woman is not Jewish. That's a
No, but
given.
she's played by one, so here we are.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a story there as well, but we'll get to that in a bit. Um.
John Jones. I know he's obviously a Martian, but
I don't. There's no
no.
Jews on Mars.
You never
Just,
know. He could have converted when he came to Earth.
it's true. It's true. Could have done. Would have taken a
Um,
long ass time to do though. A Martian who accepts the mitzvot. Interesting.
that's actually a really good idea for I don't know a comedy script. I don't know why. The Jewish Martian.
John Jones fucking arrives in Jerusalem, and he's like,
Oy vey.
Judaism.
Oy vey.
Oy
First
vey.
thing he first thing he says, oy vey, and all the Jewish people are like, yes, he is one of
He
us.
is one of us. Literally, like the Justice League is getting their lunch order. Like Batman is
Oh
like,
my
I'll just
god,
have a coffee.
Moses was just a Martian. That's
Yeah,
all he was.
that's all he was. Literally, they're getting their lunch order. Like Batman's like, I'll just have a coffee. You know, um, Superman's like, I'll have an apple pie. John Jones is like, I'll have bagel with lox and cream cheese. And everyone looks at him and they're like, what?
What?
Where did that come from? And he's like, what? Just the food of my people. It's like, they don't have lox on Mars. And he's like, no, the other people. It's like, oh, okay.
What? How did you convert to Judaism? Oh, the
Oh,
married one. Just
yeah,
then his Jewish wife enters or something with like three
yeah.
kids, and it's
It's
like he's
like,
like,
oh, it took a long time, but we got there in the end.
you have no idea how long ago I crash landed on this planet. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
You don't want to know how many times I read the Torah, but I did.
Oh god. What? I'm trying to think.
Aquaman,
Not Jewish.
not Jewish, no, not a chance.
Trying to think of
Uh,
Avengers. What Peter Parker is.
oh yeah, 100%. Tony Stark
I don't
probably
know.
isn't.
No, Steve Rogers isn't.
No. Again,
Bruce Banner, maybe.
values.
I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, could. Uh, I'll just say probably not because nothing really seems to have actually pointed at him being. So I'm gonna say no.
Yes, that's the thing. I think interestingly, what they don't like with DC and other comic book characters, I guess even from Marvel, when they've announced the religions of certain characters, like oh they're Christian, Jewish, whatever, it's kind of in the background, like hey, for your reference, they're there.
Yeah,
The only one where I have a problem with it's not in the background, it's very much in the foreground is Miss Marvel, where the only
yeah.
thing they had to say about her character was that she
She's
was a
a
Muslim.
Muslim. She's a Muslim superhero. It's like, okay, thanks.
Who
No very good
cares?
one then, because not really covering the hair or anything.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Not great representation. There we go.
Nope. So
But anyway, moving along from the topic of
of
characters,
yeah,
religions, and
to
their representation to a little more grim topic that one you wanted to talk about, which is
yes.
fair.
So going back to Wonder Woman as well. Um, we liked the first Wonder Woman film. I think that's safe to say. The
Yep.
second one was okay.
It
I
was
wouldn't call it bad. I would call it okay.
average. It was average.
But needless to say, I think we both can agree when we say, do you know what? A third Wonder Woman film would be nice.
Yeah.
Um, this isn't confirmed, but there's a slight chance, or actually a very present chance, that that might not happen now. And the reason for that is frustrating. And we've talked about this sort of thing before. Like there's this thing in Hollywood these days, where like I feel like certain actors are being pushed to say a particular thing, and I've already said like I'd rather just not have actors have their political opinion online.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that aside for now because that's my opinion and that's not the principle involved. Um, because the fact of the matter is that people in Hollywood do put their opinions on the internet,
Yeah.
and there's been cases, for instance, like just looking at the Mandalorian. You know, there was Pedro Pascal who posted a picture, where he compared Trump supporters to Nazis and Confederate soldiers, and everyone was kind of like okay with that, even though that was an awful thing to do. And there was Gina Carano who, again, not supporting what she did, but like she compared being a Republican and these like or Republican supporter in this day and age is like being a Jew in Nazi Germany, um, and she got fired.
Yeah.
I condemn both posts, but I think it's
Yeah.
weird that only one of them got reprimanded. And so recently, like
Uh,
we've
I mean, that's the
what
thing. I'm gonna say it's not weird because Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian, whereas Gina
I
Carrero does
that
play a
doesn't
like a
doesn't
big
matter.
character.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
I
matter.
know it doesn't, but
Her character was very popular,
she
and
was, but the show could survive without her because it wasn't called Cara Dune; it was called The Mandalorian. So
okay,
it could
fine,
survive without her, but it couldn't survive without Pedro, I
it
think.
could survive without him, literally by just ending it there. There's a show that directly follows it up called Boba. It's called The Book of Fett. So just do that instead. Like you could
I guess.
easily like it. Anyway, um, recently, a couple of weeks ago actually, was another conflict in the like another Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Yeah.
And obviously, like we don't want to get too political, so let's put our opinions about the conflict aside. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
What I will say is that the majority of Hollywood was predominantly pro-Palestine. Right?
Yeah.
One Indian actress even went as far as to quote Hitler. And even though the post was removed, it was still, in my opinion, unacceptable to do something like that because it doesn't help the conflict. But for some reason, in her mind, it was like, yeah, I can do that because that makes sense because whatever. Gal Gadot.
Wait,
Hmm.
in the context of her quoting Hitler, what was the step? Was she?
So the quote was, "I won't kill every single Jew just to keep a couple of them alive, so they can see why I killed them." Something like that.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So those kind of things like they go up and everyone's like supporting that for some reason. Gal Gadot, right? But I will say again, maybe shouldn't have necessarily done that, but again, it will happen. Out of all the things that anyone posted, I would say is the mildest fucking thing you could possibly say, right? Where she
Yeah.
said, "I cry out for Israel and the neighboring countries." She just wants peace, right? She just said, I don't. I can even look up the quote right now. It was something like that. It was fucking mild. Like there was nothing. Do you know what? I'll fucking look up the quote right now.
I mean, what? And
It
people are
was
angry with her at that?
there was nothing wrong with that.
No, none whatsoever. That's a message of peace versus someone who quoted a fucking genocidal maniac.
Here we go. She said, "My heart breaks. My country is at war. I worry for my family, my friends. I wor- I worry for my people. This is a vicious cycle that has been going on for far too long. I pray for the victims and their families. I pray for this unimaginable hostility to end. I pray for our leaders to find a solution so we could live side by side in peace. I pray for better days."
You know what the
Now,
annoying thing is well, that sounds like Wonder Woman talking as well. That sounds like something she would even say.
well, yes,
And they're giving her shit. It's like people claim that they love all these superheroes, but then when one of the actual actors does something vaguely or says something vaguely similar to their character in real life, oh no, 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 that doesn't align with our agenda.
yeah, and also at some point in 2019, to add to that, they also quote another word that she said, which is literally a commandment in the Old Testament, which is "Love thy neighbor as thyself."
Yeah.
what's wrong with like and basically Warner Brothers asked her to take the tweet down, and she didn't because she refused.
Yeah.
And I'll be again, I will re-emphasize my opinions about celebrity culture and them posting their political opinions online is by the wayside. And also, by the way, this wasn't political. Like, look at it.
No,
It
it was a
wasn't.
message.
She
It
literally
was a
just says,
message of peace.
yeah. She literally just said, "I worry for my family."
Yeah, and she has every right. I mean, like, I don't honestly see how Woodward can think that's a smart move because anyone with an ounce of common sense and a brain cell who will look at this and then hear people say, "Oh, she shouldn't have posted that," I think, what, that she's concerned for her family? All right, well, I'm going to kidnap your family and kill them. No, you can't do that, but you can't show concern. It's different situations. Not really, because
Yeah,
what she said isn't political.
it wasn't
Like,
political. People politicized it, and also, um, it there's another article connected to that. Oh no, this is from ages ago. That's misleading. It said Wonder Woman banned in Lebanon. It's like, okay, well that's not particularly surprising. I'm not gonna lie.
nah, it's not.
It's petty, but it's not surprising. But that was for the original film, not the new one. So that's 4 years ago.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, it's. I don't know. It doesn't like people. I think sort of quickly. I know we said we wouldn't, but just wanted to touch on the topic of the whole conflict. Just to quickly say that people just sort of jump to conclusions and don't do any due diligence or research into it.
they don't, and
They
it's
just
the same every time.
and the issue is people go to news outlets and like BBC, CNN, or Fox News or whatever. And the issue is I have now these days. I honestly think that's not none of them are real. Have any ounce of real journalism left in them.
No, it's all biased as fuck.
Yeah, because the whole point of journalism is that it's about the truth and being unbiased.
Yeah,
They're all propaganda now. So ultimately, it's if someone says, "Oh, but on the BBC it said this," we're like, "Yeah, but that isn't the truth." That's like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
sure,
part of the truth.
it's part of the truth. You're still missing about 2/3 of the truth, which is the other side's argument, and then the neutral aspect of it. So you're still missing two major parts of this whole thing. So yeah, my
Yeah,
as we've briefly talked about our opinions on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, is I just think neither side is good, but the real victims are the civilians. As
neither governments are good. I want to say
neither,
the people cannot be represented by the governments on either side.
no,
Um,
yeah, no, I think that was the view we came to
and
in the end.
people do it all the time, and it fucking breaks my heart every time.
Yeah,
Um,
because in the end, it's the people that are really the ones suffering and all this and are getting hurt, and
yeah, and
no one talks about them. No one really gives a shit. It's like, oh, this government's terrible. It's like, well, yeah, but you don't care about the people getting hurt, do you?
yeah, and the governments don't really care about their own people, for as far as I can tell.
No,
Like,
not really.
and also like when it comes to suffering as well. Like, I don't want to go too far into this, but like when it comes to suffering as well, like for some reason people find it like perfectly okay to make suffering quantifiable. So they're like, well, one side isn't suffering as much as the other side, and it's like, okay, well, look,
That doesn't
you
work.
it it's like if you see two children fighting and you're a school teacher or something like, and you're breaking up the fight, and like one says like he started and the other one says like, okay, but he hit me more often, and it's like, who cares? You were fighting. You shouldn't be
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah,
You should
exactly.
be trying to fucking, democratically get to or diplomatically rather get to some sort of um
Solution.
yeah. Obviously,
Yeah.
completely besides the point. I think the main point is that like the whole thing
Hollywood celebrity
about
culture
yeah,
and yeah, going back to that, yeah.
and it's annoying to me like that Hollywood is really like pushing that kind of like Democrats kind of narrative as well, where it's like we have these people that we like, and they will say these things that we approve of and that we're happy with, and
Mm.
everyone will kind of get swept up in this, and you
Which
know,
is fucking ironic considering it's typically I find like at least with sort of people in our age range who could take to Twitter and things who are liberal and saying, oh, they're not being represented, feminists aren't heard, these people aren't heard. It's like you are heard. Hollywood makes sure you're heard very
yeah.
loudly, I'd argue, more than anyone else at this point.
Oh yeah.
The only reason you don't have a complete dogma over everything is because there's things like Fox News, which, while I don't like and agree with all the time, they do kind of strike a balance.
Yep, and I'm forced to watch them because I'll be honest, like first of all, I'll be honest, I'm willing to admit I agree with most of the stuff that I've seen that they report on, right? That's one, but the other thing is because the other side of the market is so ridiculously saturated that
Yeah,
like all I'm getting is left, and I want to be in the middle, so I need some right.
yeah, yeah. There's no like centralist news channels out there. I mean, there's some that
No,
were close once or twice before, but then they just once again
yeah,
swang to the left. I think CNN was pretty close at one point, but then they just sort of
it's no, yeah.
They violently swinged.
They're pretty much left now.
Yeah, which is fucking and the same. It was this that was the issue. Like BBC and CNN, I would say like maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago, they were pretty close to central, maybe a little left, but pretty
Yeah.
close. And now in the last sort of 2, 3 years, they've just had a violent shit where it's like
Oh yeah.
enough. And actually, to be fair, I think a lot of it is when Trump was elected, they shifted pretty heavily left. Weirdly, I think it was
Yeah.
roughly around that time when he was elected. So it was a weird domino effect that a lot of news outlets, the moment Trump was elected, started to pick sides of either the right or the left, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as I guess what we wanted to I wanted to kind of discuss and talk to you as well about not just like our issues with celebrity cultures we've talked about before. It's just that it's unnecessary, doesn't make any sense, and now
Yeah.
it's gone even realistically further. Like the because as I've always viewed in Hollywood is that there are two sides to Hollywood. There
Mm.
is the people, and then there is the craft. And there's always been a way to distinguish between the two. I always find, like for example, Kevin Spacey is a fucking terrible guy, but he is a great actor.
Yeah.
Like,
He's actually making a comeback now as well, as far as I've been told.
have you heard what film he's making?
Yes, the I think it's the one where he's like hunting a pedophile or something like that.
Yeah, he's the one where it's either one where he's tracking down a pedophile or one
Yeah.
about someone who's been falsely accused of it or something like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, mate, of all the films to stage your comeback, probably not the right one.
It's gonna have a usual suspects like ending where it turns out he was the pedophile all along.
It better. It better.
Yeah.
I see dead people. It turns out he was the dead. I see pedophiles. He was the pedophile all
He
along.
was projecting. But that's I think that's what naturally happens as well. Like you know you've got Kevin Spacey who's now coming back. There was the incident with Mel Gibson, who in a drunken bout like offended all of the Jewish people. There was Charlie
Yeah, what,
Sheen,
did he
who
like convert a swastika or something into like a
something
field?
like yeah, something like that. There was this situation with Charlie Sheen briefly, where I
Charlie
think
Sheen is on and off. It's
I
like there are
think
periods
I
where he
there
does
was well
something.
to be fair there was this point where he did like call his soon to be divorced wife and did say that he hoped that she would be raped by a gang of black people. Only he didn't say black people.
Ah, he said the other word.
Yes. So that
Classy
obviously
guy,
didn't
Charlie
save all
Sheen.
people.
Classy guy.
uh, obviously, despite the fact that he's still in work, like people don't like Chris Pratt right now all too much.
Yeah.
Um, like
But here's the thing. Do you think he'll continue to find work in Hollywood? Like
who?
an abundant Chris Pratt, an abundant amount. Do you
Oh
think
yeah,
yeah?
oh yeah,
Because that's the thing. Because
because
I
he's
was
just really good at his job, and
yeah,
he's
because
a funny actor.
I was talking about it with like some work colleagues of mine. I was thinking, oh, is Chris Pratt really that guy at the moment? Because we made like a list of actors who are the big thing, as it were. Like you would go and see a film just because they're in it, and The Rock is
Yeah,
number one we kind of view at this
obviously.
point.
Yeah, yeah.
He, can't remember who else we. I said for a time Will Smith would have been in that list. Tom Cruise as
Not so
well.
much anymore.
No, yeah, for a time they were, but not so
Yeah.
much anymore. And I think
Arnold
they more.
Schwarzenegger though is a very good reason to watch a film.
Yeah, but I was talking about universal appeal, as in men and women would like it, and I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger is as much of a chick magnet as The Rock is.
Well, I don't know.
He's not anymore. Chris
Maybe not
Pratt
now.
definitely is. Who else? Maybe Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, I mean, there's films. What was his last film on Netflix? Was it Extraction?
Extraction, yeah, that
Yeah,
was
still
actually
haven't
pretty
seen it.
good.
Still haven't seen it.
It's actually pretty good. Very impressive cinematography, actually. Very impressive.
Hmm.
Um, but no, what was it? I was because we were this whole conversation derived from the idea of like, oh, there aren't any real female actresses who you hear the name and everyone universally goes, yeah, let's go see that actor's film. Because with actors, it's The Rock. Everyone goes, yeah, let's go see The Rock. With Chris Pratt, yeah, oh, yeah, let's go see Chris Pratt. But I was thinking women wise, maybe Scarlett Johansson. Her name is big enough, I guess, to carry a film.
Yeah,
But
I'll often consider watching a film if she's in it.
yeah, but there I don't maybe Margot Robbie as well, but there aren't that many others I would argue besides maybe those two that
Yeah,
would really. Jennifer Lawrence was for a little bit, like for a few
for a
years, and
year.
then for a year after like the Hunger Games and Silver Lining, and then she was like, "Oh, X-Men." Everyone's like, "Oh, let's go see it," and everyone's like, "Wow, it's just about her being her.
Yeah,
That's terrible. I don't like that," and then it just didn't work afterwards. But yeah, like it's a weird thing, I think, with Hollywood. There's sort of stages of certain actors being at the sort of top, and I think it's for lots of reasons. One, it is because of their craft, and two, because it is who they are as a person, like
yeah,
their natural charisma. Because The Rock is a very charismatic guy, but he's also whenever he talks, he's not too political as well. I find.
yeah. No, I don't think I've ever heard him like be political, but I don't
No,
watch wrestling, so maybe on the in the ring he's a little bit more, you know.
in the ring of
Yeah,
in
in the
WWE
ring,
of
he
all
grabs the
places, that's when he
microphone
starts getting
and
political.
he goes, "Can you smell what the vote for Biden?"
Oh Christ, yeah. Like I will say the one thing I think that is also a little bit with celebrity culture. It's not just so much the celebrities ultimately in the end. As we kind of figure, it is a lot to do as with the people. Because
Yep.
I remember when the presidential elections last year, and Chris Pratt was like, "Oh, don't forget to go out and vote," and everyone's like, "You can't say that." It's like, why? Because he's a Republican.
He didn't even say who to vote for. Like,
Yeah, he didn't even say who to vote for. And here's the thing: I was thinking, I with Chris Pratt, it's one of those weird things where I wasn't convinced he was going to vote for Trump, but at the same time, it wouldn't have surprised me weirdly, I guess, because I don't know.
no,
But at the same time,
I don't think it would be too far out there to think that he did, and there's nothing wrong with that, to be honest with you.
no, there isn't because I mean he is a Republican, and not everyone agrees with who Biden is because Biden is that standard run-of-the-mill politician says what he needs to, and then doesn't do much else afterwards.
Also, he's a bit of a
Yeah,
prick. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Like, I'll never let it down that at some point he said, if you're like I think he talked to like a majority black community, and he said,
yeah.
if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Jesus, okay, nicely done there,
Well done,
Biden.
Biden.
Yeah,
You know what I think just thought of as well is like a country can only be so divisive when you have a party called the Democrats, a party called the Republicans, but your country is a democratic republic.
yeah, yeah.
Idiots.
Like, yeah, it's stupid because as I briefly mentioned to you the other day, and it's something that kind of intrigued me, is that celebrity culture is obviously now spilled out from other things. It's no longer just the music and film industry. It's now the internet,
Yeah.
YouTube personalities.
Mm,
And the issue is, as I said before, with at least with Hollywood and the music industry, you can differentiate between the personality and the craft. Whereas with YouTube, it's often one of the same.
yeah.
And that becomes a real issue because then when you start noticing some of them, it's like, wow, these guys are genuinely really nasty people,
Yeah.
but they're also very good at lying and manipulating.
That
Or
this is yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And I think the issue is as well with film, at least, there are age ratings and there are things where because it isn't also the actor's political view or opinion that's being expressed in the film or whatever, it's because well that means also people won't be suckered into following them without question. Whereas with YouTube, I don't think there is that safety, there is that filter. which means really young audiences, young and impressionable audiences can be very quickly suckered into something.
Yeah, I think it's a bit twofold in that sense because yeah, I agree that there's like young people predominantly like spend their time on YouTube rather than watching films, so they're more kind of in that world of these creators. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing is also that the mediums are completely different because especially if you
Yeah.
look at like the kind of content that is popular on YouTube is it's not films. Like
No.
people usually like have videos much like we're doing right now is basically we're just like talking on camera and like expressing opinions about like a video game or a video or something like that. That's like the main thing. Or they're talking to the camera like they're talking about how to do something or something like that. There are sketches, but they're not as common anymore because I think the idea of making sketches has been a little bit more been depopularized.
Yeah. I think
Oh
the other thing,
yeah,
yeah, because the other thing as well is like another big thing that's kind of risen to prominence is things like that family vloggers as well.
yeah,
Like these reality stars of like not even just families as well, but like the Logan and Jake Pauls as well, which they
yeah,
kind of over dramatize their lives, but it becomes their life to be dramatic. And you get a lot of young impressionable audiences who all kind of probably go, "Oh, I'd really wish I was them,"
yeah. They're
kind of
they're learning
mentality.
values from these people, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's the issue. It's not healthy and it's not safe. And the other issue is as well that their response to criticism. A lot of them don't respond to criticism at all.
No, no,
Whereas with actors and things, there's a difference in people criticize their craft, and actors will go, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right, I'll learn from that and move on or whatever."
not all of them,
But
but okay.
no one ever really criticizes who they are as people. And when they do, the actors just kind of go, "Well,
Well, fuck you, buddy.
yeah, fuck you. It doesn't matter who I am. You do
Do you
you.
know?
I'll
Do
do
you know
me."
who I am? Do you know who you are? I don't know who you are. You know who I am.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
exactly. Whereas with YouTube personalities, because their craft and personalities are the same,
Yeah,
it
your
means when they get criticized, it's not just criticizing their craft, it's criticizing them as a
yeah.
person.
What's your brand, isn't it? Like your personality is your brand, and so if
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
offends your brand, they're offending you as a person.
Yeah. I think the issue is, and people might think, well, then they kind of have some rights to defend themselves. I think, yeah, but at the same time, because who they are is their brand. And when someone criticizes the company, let's say like Coca-Cola,
Mm.
Coca-Cola will look to make a change. They
Yeah,
may not like
potentially.
it, but they're gonna look into it,
Or
which
they'll
means
just go
the
like, okay, well, there's a billion people who like this product, and there's like 500 people who don't. So maybe let's not listen to like the 500 people. Like let's listen to the
yeah,
majority always because that's how you get results. Is like cater to the majority.
yeah,
But
but at the same time, I
that's a
think
yeah that's a corporation. That's not um media creators.
yeah, because also yeah, because there's also the difference of like, well, 500 people don't like their product, but at the same time, that's 500 people of all ages.
Yeah,
Whereas with YouTube stars like Logan and Jake Paul, most of their audience are very young and impressionable, and it's like, well, most of our audience like us. It's like, yeah, but they're gullible, they're stupid, they're very impressionable kids.
yeah.
Like
To be fair, there's been
they don't know they shouldn't like
yeah.
you.
I will say in credit to them, there's been a shift over the years. I think Jake Paul predominantly still makes content for children, but Logan's audience actually is a little bit older these days.
Yeah, I think Logan has improved. I'll give Logan that. I
Yeah,
think,
he's still a cunt.
I'll,
Don't get
yeah,
me
he's
wrong,
still
he
an
still
asshole.
is.
He still is, but I don't think he's not an entitled one anymore, if that kind of makes sense. It doesn't feel like there's that air of arrogance. He's still a dick, but he's not
I
so arrogant as to
yeah,
believe he's above everything
I
else.
think it's because the amount of errors that he's made, like it actually seems like he's somehow learned from them
Yeah,
somewhat.
I think also the situations of certain things like being humbled on occasion, like weird thing to jump to, but the KSI Logan Paul boxing match where KSI won, I think that might have been a bit of a humbling moment for him to go, I lost, so
Wait, what?
yeah, they had a boxing match.
No, hang
They
on.
had two.
Did KSI win?
He didn't win the first time, but they had a rematch, which he won the second one.
Okay, I don't remember this. I thought Logan won somehow.
No, no,
Okay.
he didn't. KSI did. Um,
Also, he's not been humbled enough because then he still went out to challenge Floyd Mayweather. That fight happened last Sunday.
and it
Uh,
was a fucking draw. What?
no, well, okay, so basically it was because apparently this was one of them matches where they don't count the points. There is no winner. That was what it was. If they had, like, I read an article yesterday, if they had counted the points, the Mayweather would have won
Yeah,
easily
that
because
makes sense.
he didn't punch as often, but the accuracy rate was way higher, like
Yeah,
incomparably higher.
yeah, of course.
But I've also been told that apparently the match was an absolute drag to look at.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Because you have a professional boxer who's probably holding back in the end, let's be honest,
Yeah,
against a guy who's boxed against YouTubers.
yeah. Well, apparently it was a lot of like block from Mayweather's point of view. It was a lot of blocking and hugging. It's like, well,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I guess that's boxing.
Yeah. It's kind of sad that YouTube has invaded boxing and made it into this joke. You know, I'm not a big fan of boxing myself, but at the same time, I know
Yeah,
really from our conversation yesterday with Tammy that certain sports can really invoke a lot of emotions, and I can imagine a lot of people are looking at this at these matches, kind of going, "This is ruining the sport for us." And it's like,
it
okay,
probably is, to be honest with you.
no.
But that's the thing is like YouTube seeps into like everything these days. Like YouTube seeps into boxing. YouTube seeps into well, music obviously because a lot of bigger stars these days originate from YouTube. Like look at fucking Justin Bieber. You know, he had his humble beginnings on the small webpage.
Yeah,
Joji as well. Like he started out very different. Remember
yeah,
Filthy Frank? Remember
yeah,
Pink Guy?
yeah,
Um, and like there's other things like you know YouTube also seeps into back into Hollywood as well. Like you know Logan Paul had like a Hollywood film apparently. Um,
yeah. The not even just random Hollywood films. Like a lot of them have been making films now, but for some of them, it kind of makes sense. Like for Rooster Teeth, when they made a film, it made sense because Rooster Teeth is a production company. I kind of view it.
yeah,
It's not. It's like a studio. It's not just a YouTube star.
they
Whereas
made
then
the
you have
TV
the
show, didn't they?
they've made several. They've made several.
Nice.
They've got Red versus Blue. They've got Ruby. They've got Gen X, something like that. Whatever
Okay.
it is. Um, all animations though they're shows, but they're all
Of course, but
decent.
it's still respectable.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's all respectable.
you know,
But then you have other ones like the Smosh movie, which
yeah. No,
I
that
know
wasn't good.
I know Smosh now is kind of more of a production company thing, but at the same time it's a production company that focuses on the personalities of their stars rather than
So
the
yes,
actual.
so basically Smosh started out as like a sketch channel more than anything.
Yeah.
Um, because I remember that time of YouTube and honestly like it was good times at the time, but like I think because I was younger.
Yeah,
Where
that's
you
the
had
thing, because
them and you had Ryan Higa and you had like um it wasn't it wasn't called Rocket Jump back then. It was just Freddie W.
yeah,
Which also did like not exactly that type of stuff, but like close enough to that.
yeah,
And I will say Rocket Jump is also like it became a production company, but they made a YouTube show called Video Game High School, which I think later was purchased by Netflix as well. And that one I
mm,
still think is solid, and I think it's
yeah,
great that they did that. But that you can tell from the beginning, like that was always their aim. They always like wanted to do that to make like bigger and better things with like big visual effects and stuff like that. They worked towards
yeah,
that, and I can appreciate that. Smosh was like, I guess for them to make a movie with them two in the lead was an inevitability. I just don't see why they made
yeah.
two. Um,
They made two.
yeah, I think they made one which was like the Smosh movie, and there's one where like I think there was it's like about a ghost roommate thing.
Yeah, I think another one. I think I know that one. Yeah,
And
it's
now
what?
it is a production company, but it's a YouTube production company, and
Yeah,
they're kind of making several types of content with the same people. Obviously, Anthony left and then went to do his own kind of um
thing,
thing. Yeah,
which whatever it was,
for
and it.
better or worse. Well, he just sits down with
Yeah,
YouTubers and like talks about like all kinds of afflictions, like you know, mental illnesses, physical
okay.
illnesses, like that kind of thing. Like he's exploring the kind of thing. Like for instance, like he made a he made one video, for instance, about creators with Tourette's, and so he like had a bunch of YouTubers and Twitch streamers as well, maybe like three of them actually, more like, and he sat down with them and talked about like, what is it, how often do you get afflicted by it, how does this
Affect
affect
you and your
your
work.
personal life, how does this affect your professional life, and then he went on to um, you know
Yeah,
streamers
okay.
slash YouTubers who don't show their face. So he had Swagger Souls on, and he didn't say the R word, which was very disappointing, and therefore I didn't like the video. Um, but like that kind of thing, and I think it's interesting, but like I think the way he does it could have been more interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
that's because what I'm trying to think. Sorry, okay. Like the weird topic of like all these YouTubers moving on to different things. I know that Shane
yeah,
Dawson did a movie. Shane Dawson's Shane Dawson's done that weird thing where I
he's
think he's trying to
changed.
he has changed. Like he's trying to do like YouTube documentaries. I know he tried to do one with
Yeah,
Jake Paul, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is just going to be Shane Dawson ripping into him." But then it turned kind of serious and trying to be sympathetic with Jake Paul. I was like, "Mate, you can't garner
it
sympathy for
it was a
someone who
weird.
doesn't."
I'm very conflicted about that series. I'll be honest, because it's like in one way, like the way that he went about, like his premise was all wrong, right? Like
Yeah,
because the whole idea was like sociopaths, and like Jake Paul is a sociopath, and like yeah, obviously, but like on the other end, it's like, well, most people on YouTube kind of almost have to be, right,
yeah.
to be able to like dedicate yourself to that
Especially
grind.
those, especially those big YouTube stars that focus that their entire channel is based on their personality, and they do
Mm,
things like vlogging and face cams and stuff like that's the thing. Like, I think for certain ones where it's like Vanos and Terrorizer and all these other ones, I don't feel like they're as sociopathic at all, or even as close, or at all, to be honest, because they're not. Their channel is based around their content and how they interact with each other,
yeah,
as opposed to who they are as people. They do the occasional stuff by themselves, but it still kind of feels like it's more, I'm doing this because I find this fun, rather than, oh, I'm doing this because it's all about me. Whereas with
yeah,
the other, with like the Jake Pauls and Rice Gums and so on, it does feel kind of like that it is about them.
yeah. By the way, just for the audience sake as well, we want like, because obviously like sociopath is like one of those words where like people jump back. Uh, just to confirm the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath is someone who will essentially not consider any sort of emotional situation and will actually do things to harm people pretty much on purpose,
Yeah,
probably knowing that it's bad, but not really registering that it's bad. A sociopath is just someone who is completely detached of their kind of their own, but mostly other people's emotions, and so just
yeah,
doesn't consider them. And
yeah,
so basically, like it's the kind of person that like you know if they repeat a joke that the other person doesn't find funny and actually finds annoying, um, they will. It's not that they will continue because they think it's funny that it's annoying them. They will just not register that it is actually annoying them. That
yeah.
kind of thing.
Because it'll be more of a question of why don't you find this funny because I find it funny kind of mentality,
Yeah,
as
and
opposed to you don't find this funny, so I'm going to annoy you with it. That's the difference between them
yeah,
in the end.
and again, in slight defense of Logan Paul, um, there was a video at some point, made by the editor that does the PewDiePie videos, which is Sive Morton, and he had the editor from he had KSI's editor and Logan Paul's editor, um, all three together in a group chat, and they made a video together. And so Logan Paul's editor said that Logan very much plays it up for the camera. Like as soon as the camera starts rolling, he gets into a persona. When the camera goes off, he just goes chill mode.
That's the thing. Weirdly, I kind of do expect that from Logan, because I think
Yeah,
also his content isn't as consistent like daily vlogs about him. Like there feels like there is some deviation
yeah,
in the content. Whereas with Jake Paul, because it is pretty much a video almost a day of vlogs and him with his antics, it's very difficult to then differentiate between him and the character.
yeah,
They do
exactly.
become one of the same. And if he wasn't like his character before, he starts becoming his character.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
Logan, I've never struck as like. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the guy's content, but I wouldn't be surprised if I met the guy and thought, you know what, actually, he's not that bad of a guy.
Oh
But
yeah,
he's just not he's not nice, but
yeah.
he's not bad either. He's
He's
just an
he's he's
okay.
just doing the grind. Like he's going out of his way to make sure that he has the most possible interest, like the most interesting possible content. And
Yeah,
sometimes you have to like cross a particular line over it. And us as like people who like comedy, like we can't not commend him for that. Like that's absolutely what you should be doing. It's just that sometimes he doesn't know exactly what line he's crossing and like where the line exactly is.
yeah.
Um, I don't like the way that he does it, but I can't fault him for doing it because
I
that's
think that's the
exactly what
thing.
people should be
Yeah,
doing.
because it's weirdly, I find he's a weird. This is going to be a very weird connection. He's kind of like Adam Sandler. You know, he does the grind, whether people like him or not. But you either really don't like his films or his content, or he has a very dedicated fan base. And that's the
Yeah,
thing. I like Adam Sandler. I like a lot of his movies, but I
yeah,
know
I
for a
agree.
fact a lot of people don't. I think it's it's weird to make that connection between the two because they're nowhere near similar in any way as people, but it's more what the work they do. I think
Yeah,
that's the similarity I draw between the two.
that's
But
fair.
yeah,
Another thing that is obviously frustrating on YouTube. This is I think an ongoing thing as well. Is like um when I think maybe the opposite is when Hollywood kind of crosses over into YouTube. And I'll be honest, like there's cases of like actors, specific actors moving to YouTube, like famously, like you had The Rock, you had Will Smith, and you had Jack Black. And honestly, like that's fine. Like they like for the most part they have their dedicated audience who would like to see more of them. And I
yeah,
can
yeah,
I can appreciate that, especially Jack Black, because he like he makes his content art. So I can
yeah,
appreciate that. But why the talk show hosts? Why? It's like
yeah.
Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all these
Ellen
people,
DeGeneres.
Alex DeGeneres as well. They all move to YouTube as well, and they start like interacting with YouTube as if they belong there. And it's like, well, look, there's an endless amount of podcasts on YouTube of
Yeah,
people who will then end up speaking with each other and talking about the same thing for longer than you can do on syndicated TV. So why are you interacting with YouTube? Especially Ellen as well. Like she like the majority of the stuff that she has on her show. I think we talked about this the other day. Is like not even that many celebrities all that much anymore. Like she'll have celebrities, but usually as like a side piece to someone who was in a viral video recently, and go like, here we go. They were in a viral video. Now they're on my show. I made them big. I am the one who discovered them.
yeah. It's a
Praise
very
me.
I am your god.
I am Ellen, your god. Bow down to me.
Ellen, the god of kindness.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh god, but we have plenty to say on Ellen.
Oh, yeah.
But
We're about
like
to,
we
but
talked to, yeah, we'll finish up with the talk show host thing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I really don't. Like, I don't mind the occasional clip of theirs appearing on YouTube on their channels. I think fair enough. You know, you're using it as marketing, saying, "Hey, I talked to this person. Here's a brief clip of it." Which is like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But then, like, when they release a lot more than that, I'm like, mate, I, no, your show doesn't really work on a YouTube format. The only
no.
Like, to be fair, the only reason I could think of is because they've realized most people aren't going to watch their stuff on television anymore
Yeah.
because there's too much other stuff on television that people would rather watch. So they're like, well, we'll make it shorter, we'll put it on YouTube, and if it's like 3 minutes long, people are more likely to watch it on YouTube
Yeah.
than stick around for a whole hour long or 30-minute show on television. Which, to be fair, that's not a bad strategy. In the end, it
It
works, I
isn't.
guess.
And like this
But
is
yeah,
the thing as well, is like because they know that like TV is very competitive, right?
it is very competitive. That's
More so than that, like if you air on TV, like you're airing at a particular time, whereas on YouTube you have the ease of like, you know,
choosing when you
yeah.
upload and
So
things.
so
And
if I'm let's say I'm watching TV one night and I have the option between watching um watching like a movie with Sylvester Stallone or something like that, and then at the
Yeah.
same time it's like Jimmy Fallon with Dave Grohl, and it's like I love Dave Grohl, but I'm not gonna watch him talk to someone. I could be watching Sylvester Stallone blowing shit up. Like
Yeah,
I'll listen to
exactly.
your music later. That's cool. I don't really.
'Cause- Yeah. It's not even just that, like, most television now, you look at it, it's not even just that, it's streaming services with, Netflix exclusives and
Yeah,
things like that, like Strange Things, and you think no streaming service is going to set up some sort of a deal, any deal with any of these guys. They're not gonna have, "Oh, Jimmy Fallon on Amazon Prime." It's like, no, they're not gonna do that. Or
well,
Jimmy Kimmel
they.
on that.
I will say maybe it's fair because he retired, but they did do that with David Letterman,
Yeah.
and that
Well,
was
that was
actually a pretty decent show. I will say I enjoyed that.
okay.
Like David
But
Letterman had like a show on Netflix where I think it was called My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, and he just had like
uh,
a couple of people over every now and then, of which Dave Chappelle, Barack Obama, Jerry Seinfeld, and like loads of other people as well. And he just sat down with them and like talked with them for an hour,
yeah.
which is something that on the Letterman show he never did
Yeah.
because frankly his TV show's format wouldn't allow for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, that's different then. That's a bit more.
Yeah. Also, he's retired as a talk show host,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
technically
So that's
that's fair because he doesn't have his own show aside from
yeah.
that.
But yeah, I think now jumping onto the whole Ellen DeGeneres thing, so
Yeah, we
people
have
are
some
aware.
words.
In 2020, all these allegations against producers of hers about harassment
Yeah, from their producers even.
from their producers, yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Accusations about their producers being harassing people, sexual harassment and other forms of abuse on set
Okay.
against crew, like mental abuse, I think essentially it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And basically, a lot of things came out, and like basically, they made Warner Brothers, not Warner Brothers, sorry, actually, the producers made it very clear, like Ellen had no idea, and Warner Brothers launched like a whole internal investigation into like, okay, this is not good. Let's take a look. And they confirmed it's like, yeah, the producer are the ones responsible. Ellen didn't have anything to do. It's like, so wait, she's innocent because she didn't know anything.
Yeah, but that doesn't work.
That doesn't really work because it's her
Ignorance
show.
isn't innocence.
Ignorance, yeah, it isn't innocence, especially if it's your show.
Yeah.
Like
Also,
you're
she didn't know. Like, uh, I feel like there's more to that. Like,
yeah, I feel like she was aware, but she wasn't aware to the extent. But if that's the case, she was aware of that there was weird shit going on.
like
And as I told you, a great quote from Game of Thrones. Anyone who claims to be a king is no true king. Anyone who claims to be kind isn't truly kind.
yeah,
And if you're pushing your whole show's philosophy of like, I'm the kind talk show host, it's like you're not really kind then, are you? If you have to, and like this thing, like from all the clips I see, it seems like she hammers in that point, like I'm the kind person. I'm kind, and she has this.
yeah. This very bright smile. Didn't she commit some of the like verbal and mental abuse herself?
Some, yeah, but
So how
not
did she not
nearly
know
to
if she
the same.
perpetuated it? Like,
Yeah, I think the I have so many issues with that. Weirdly, it's not like I think also my major issue with Ellen is the fact that like you said, she has that like wide smile but wide eyes as well. Like she looks crazy on her show.
yeah, she reminds me of a chemistry teacher I had once.
She reminds me of the
Who
fucking Joker.
and like, oh well, you'll like this then. I had a chemistry teacher like several years ago, and basically she looked somewhat like but a little bit older, way more hair, like curling hair and like those like scientist
Okay,
glasses and
yeah,
stuff. And
yeah.
she would be the kind of person as well that like when she would ask you something or when she would talk to you, you reply to her, and then she would not say anything for several seconds after you finish, and she would just stare at you like, yeah, that's interesting. It's like And it's like I was always fucking uncomfortable with that, and that's what Ellen is. That's what Ellen reminds me of. Is like,
Yeah,
except that she probably responds a little bit quicker than that, but like, still,
yeah. Uh, like, yeah, and just her interactions with her audience and things is just like it's so bizarre. Like
yeah,
just the way she carries herself. This she like I don't know, if I were ever on the Ellen Show, I would feel very uncomfortable just seeing her. Like, I wouldn't obviously go as well because I wanted to go. I would have to go because someone said, "Oh, I really want to go. Do you want to come?" And be like, "If you don't want to go on your own, fine, but I'm not going to enjoy myself
yeah. And then
because
obviously there's
she's a
obviously
fucking weirdo."
you're like gonna look over to like this really weird large looking table that clearly has a lid on it. And it's like Ron's in there, isn't he? And she goes like, no, 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 no. And somebody just go like, okay, well this was meant to be a gag, but you already guessed it, so there's no point in doing this.
That's the issue. It's like because when people are surprised, like the whole pranks and things, it's just like, oh, she pulled a funny. It's like, yeah, but that's all she
Oh
does.
Ellen, oh Ellen, you pull
And
so
like that's
many
the thing,
funnies.
like, and as I mentioned to you before, the whole Mariah Carey incident. So for anyone who doesn't know, Mariah Carey appeared on the Ellen Show, and this was roughly around the time of the idea or the rumors going around of, oh, Mariah Carey is pregnant.
Oh yeah,
And Ellen ambushed her and offered her champagne. It's like, if you're not pregnant, you'll drink this. And like, mate, if she is pregnant, but she wants to keep it a secret, she's left with two options: either drink the champagne and continue the secret, or let the secret be out, which she doesn't want.
yeah,
It's like, Ellen, did no one at any point ever tell you that that perhaps was a bad idea to do? Like, you should not, like, it made no sense to me that she did that. Like, if Ellen is this kind, caring, compassionate person, she might simply just ask, "Hey, Mariah, are you pregnant?" And then Mariah would just simply say, "Oh, I'd rather not say." And she'd be like, "That's fine. We'll talk about something else on the show." Like, if
yeah,
she was kind, that's what she would have done. But no, she didn't do that. She ambushed her because she thought it would be funny and it would be a cute little prank. It's like, no, that's not a cute little prank. That's abusive. That's borderline
yeah.
abusive to someone.
And it's fucking weird as well, cause like to me, all that really shows is that Ellen wants to be that person who like breaks everything. Like she breaks, not breaking physically, but like breaks the news of like, oh, on our show it was revealed that Mariah Carey was pregnant.
Yeah,
Whoa! Watch my show for more mad reveals. Whoa!
yeah, exactly. Because also, like when lockdown happened and everyone was stuck at home, and then she continued on her show in her own house, and she's like, "Oh, I know this is difficult, guys. We're all trapped inside. If it feels odd for me, I'm trapped inside with all these with the women around. With all these naked women around. I feel like prison all of a sudden. Like, it's a very nice looking prison then.
Yeah, honestly,
I mean,
that sounds like a prison I'd happily be stuck in, and also
well,
she probably would love to be stuck in there as well. Sounds like it.
yeah,
Naked
it's
women, let's go.
to be fair. Even if you did go to prison, I don't think you'd be going to that kind of prison filled with naked women.
No, it would be
But
naked. It would be naked men, and I would feel very
yeah,
uncomfortable.
exactly. Yeah, there you go.
But
Whereas unless you were
I'm not.
gay, at
I'm
that point, it'd be like you'd be happy. You'd be
see
thinking, "Oh, all these naked
see,
men."
but I'm not. So I would feel uncomfortable. However, she is, so she wouldn't be uncomfortable, would she?
Exactly. Yeah,
She
exactly.
could make it work.
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
she?
Like,
Is she still married?
I think
Oh,
she is. She's married to the that woman from Arrested Development, I believe. I'll look it up.
um, I think there was talks recently of them potentially splitting up. It doesn't matter.
Uh,
We're not a gossip channel, so I don't care enough.
yeah, it doesn't really
Um,
matter. Yeah, Galen has never really struck me as a very sane, sensible person. In all honesty.
yeah. I don't know. I just I don't know. The only thing that I can think of is like because like I said, I think she just seems like the kind of person who just wants to break like the big news on her show so that she could be like
Yeah,
considered special because obviously that's not unlike how she got big as well because Let's be honest, like one
Yeah.
of her biggest moments ever, you know.
Was-
For you guys who didn't know, like she started off as a stand-up comedian, and like in the
Yeah.
90s, NBC, the American TV company, did this thing where like they had a couple of shows on that they basically wanted to um well, basically they went up to stand-up comedians because they're funny and they want to like develop sitcoms together, and was one of those people. So they
Yeah.
developed a show called Ellen, which is literally based on her. And in that show, there was at some point an episode where her character comes out, after which she also revealed that she, like I think this was on Oprah. After that, she revealed that she herself um, is actually um, lesbian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and obviously that uh, got a huge buzz around it, and I think something of that must have been left with her, where like, you know, oh, so if I'm on a show where like this big thing happens that like radically changes the way you look at someone, or like breaks this huge news, then I can forever stay relevant in that way because that's what people want to see, and I can't really fault her for that. It's just that, well, there you go. She's just being all sociopathic about it, where it's like, you know,
Yeah. I guess.
I want
Yeah.
this, I
I
want
think that's
this,
a
and you
fair
have to
thing.
bend to my will because I am the god Ellen, and
Yeah.
I
I
gave
think
you fame.
Ellen is a sociopath to an extent.
Yeah, I'm
Very
sure
much
she's
so.
nice at
I'm sure she
occasions.
has moments of being nice. Like I'm sure she's like any other human. She has good and bad days. But yeah, I think this whole veil of her being the kindest person there is in Hollywood is a it's vastly untrue.
It's untrue
Vastly.
because the truth is, there's only one who is the kindest person in Hollywood, and that man is Keanu Reeves.
Damn straight. Damn straight. Um, but yeah, because I think the weird thing is with all the other talk show hosts, like all the flack we give them occasionally, like the whole Mariah Carey thing, I've never heard of an incident where any of them did anything like that.
No, no, not at all.
So I think in that regard, I would automatically incline to say I prefer all of them over her immediately
Yeah,
because at least none of them are that fucking manipulative.
I
They're all
mean, I mean, there was this thing with I mean, it wasn't like that, but there was this thing recently where like John Oliver like on what's his show called, something
whatever it
news,
is.
um
Sorry, wait,
last week
something.
tonight, that's what it was. um
Uh,
he basically did a bit about the Israel-Palestinian conflict, and he was incredibly one-sided. And it wasn't a segment that was meant to be satirical, but it turned out to be actually quite, honestly, quite offensive and quite racist as well at times.
Yeah.
And so I think in the end he had to take it down as well,
Okay.
because the pushback was overwhelming. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't think that video's up anymore.
That's.
Other
I'm
than
sure you could
that,
find it again.
not really. Like I'll be honest. Like going through the ranks, like Stephen Colbert his own comedy show at some point, the Colbert Report. I thought was great. Then he got his own talk show. It's not so great. Uh,
Yeah.
Trevor Noah, British man making fun of American politics. Sure. Um,
Yeah.
not very funny as well. Jimmy Kimmel also gets political at times. Don't really like him all that much.
Yeah.
Um, Tries to like make his show interesting with like weird subplots, which is kind of funny, but that's only because I think that Matt Damon's involvement in those subplots is quite funny, and that's literally it.
Yeah.
Um, Jimmy Kimmel is okay. I don't have a problem with him.
Jimmy Fallon.
Sorry, Jimmy
Or Jimmy.
Fallon. Yeah, you're right. I don't have a problem with Jimmy Fallon. Um,
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon's okay. Yeah.
he's got fun games, but then you have James Corden who blatantly rips off these games, and
Yeah.
also is kind of a little shit. Like he's not funny. He doesn't do anything to contribute to any of the comedy. There was this one show I watched with him. It's called The World's Greatest, which is like this talent show. And then every time there was a contestant, he would go up to them, and the joke would every time he made the same fucking joke. It would be like, "Hey, can I join your gang?" It's like, can I join in? Can I audition for your troupe? Look, I can dance," and he would dance very badly. And it's like it's the same fucking joke every time, and it's not funny. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything where he was funny.
Yeah.
Why is he famous? Can he not? And he fucking moderated the fucking Friends reunion as well. Whoever thought that was a great idea?
It's probably because I think it shows like a Warner Brothers one as well. So I think they were just able to do that in the end.
There's still better moderators out there. Here's a thought off the
Yeah.
top of my head, right? Just thinking of one. Maybe Oprah, because she hosted like the after talk of the finale at the time. Maybe.
Yeah. But I don't know, because I think that's the thing. Warner Bros. Probably wanted to keep it in house, and that's the thing. If that's even if James Gordon does, it works for Warner Brothers. I don't even know, but like they would want to keep it in house so that way they could push him as well.
I'm
That's all it is,
I'm
man. It's
fairly I'm
all
fairly certain that there's still better options out there.
probably the only one off the top of my head that I
Larry
know right
David.
now that is Warner Brothers is Ellen DeGeneres, and I know for a fact they're probably not going to go
No,
with
no.
her for a long time.
Get Larry David to be the moderator, and then have him berate the actors by consistently telling them how his show was much better than theirs. That's how you do it.
I don't know if that would work.
It's like so you
It would
guys
work
worked
for
on
you. I
Friends.
don't think it would work for everyone else.
No, it would be very much like if you like Larry David, you'll like it. If you don't know who he is, you will fucking hate it. But like, it's the kind of
This
thing where you
I can
literally,
honestly imagine he would make some of the actors quite uncomfortable, and that's
yeah,
the last thing that I would tolerate in the end.
he would just sit there and just go like, "So you guys had a very popular show on TV, huh?" Yeah, not number one though. But that's all right. Not everyone can do it. I fucking hated Ross. Anyway, let's get to the questions.
I mean, to be fair, because the issue is, I would imagine a lot of them would find him quite awkward and would be not
Oh
comfortable with
yeah,
him.
oh yeah.
But to be fair, if it were me and he would just go, "Oh, not at no point were you number one," unlike someone who's like, "Oh yeah," but to be fair, you don't have any competition, so you're just number one because there's no one else better than you, and that's not a compliment because
He had
you're
competition, didn't he?
I don't know, does he?
Seinfeld and Friends were direct competition, pretty much. They were both
Was
from
he number
NBC, but
one?
like,
Was he number one at that
Seinfeld
time? But
Seinfeld was the number one show in the 90s.
oh, okay. So what? Then he would say, "Oh, you weren't number one." It's like, yeah, but neither were you,
What do you mean?
because he what? Because sorry, what's my face? Larry David has his own show, right?
But yes, I'm not talking about Kirby Enthusiasm right now. He wrote, produced, and created Seinfeld. That's the joke.
I didn't know
Is
that.
well, there you go.
Well, then my joke would be is like, sorry, who were you again? Oh, I wrote, produced, and did all this for Seinfeld. It's like, oh,
Oh,
yeah, no, we don't know who you are.
are you
That's all I
Seinfeld?
heard.
No, get out.
It was like, you're not famous to us. Get out. Get someone else out there who's actually interesting.
Okay,
Look,
you
if
laugh,
you
but
would,
I'd still love to see that.
yeah, but that's the thing. That's if some of the actors could think of that. I honestly don't imagine
Yeah,
any of the six of them
probably
would
not.
do.
No, maybe
We would. I would
maybe
do that.
Matthew Perry.
Maybe Matthew Perry,
He
but
could
that's if
probably
he
pull
has
it out
the
of his ass,
yeah, he
or
probably
Lisa
would.
Kudrow, because she's quite fucking quick as well.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
do you know as well? Like at some point there was meant to be a no, it wasn't never meant to be. Sorry, but there was talks of potentially having like a crossover between Seinfeld and Friends.
Didn't know that.
And the reason why it didn't happen is because Larry David didn't want it, and then at some point he genuinely said like, we could consider it, but then we have to kill off Ross. Like genuinely, like he was so against this character. And then the people at NBC were like, yeah, we don't know about this one. Maybe let's not do it.
Oh wow.
And so forever, there's only two strands that will ever hold up. One sort of there, and one very indirect. The first one being that Courtney Cox was in an episode of Seinfeld at some point, where
Yeah.
she played his girlfriend that pretended to be his wife to get a discount at um a dry cleaners. It was
Of
fucking
course.
great. It was so funny. And the other one is, so you know how like Phoebe has a sister, right? Ursula.
Yeah.
She's actually one of the predominant characters in a different NBC sitcom, which is Mad About You.
Ursula.
Yes. And
Okay.
so in that show, there's a character. One of the main characters is called Paul, and he's apparently subletting an apartment in I believe upstate New York, or not upstate New York. Sorry, uptown Manhattan.
Yeah.
It turns out that that apartment is the one that Kramer lives in,
Okay.
and that's the only strand that will ever connect the three.
Fair enough.
I'm happy with that. Anyway,
Uh,
I'll watch the Friends reunion thing at some point, but it doesn't look very interesting.
Yep. I think, in all honesty, that's kind of a good place to end it now that I can think of. There's
Yeah,
not
sounds
much
about right.
I can see here. I was just trying to look up things like about Ellen DeGeneres and her wife possibly splitting up, and all I can see is that she's purchased a new house and things. So I don't think they're splitting up.
Probably not. Probably not. To be fair, like if they were potentially splitting up, it would have probably been more widely reported. I was probably thinking of someone else.
Yeah.
Um, but um, yeah.
Wait, what?
I what?
No fucking way. So Ellen DeGeneres, 48.
Yep.
She's she's Australian. Mhm. I don't know how I
Oh,
feel
that is
about
so fucking funny. Oh, wait, are you serious?
it.
Wait, where's she born?
It says born Horsham, Australia.
So not only
I
is she
need
Australian, she's born in a very obscure area.
of Australia. Or am I looking at the wrong person here? Oh wait, no. Oh, sorry. No, I'm looking at the wrong act. I'm looking at the wrong one of the two.
Oh,
No, okay. So I was looking at the wrong one too.
yeah, because
Her
here
wife
it's
is Australian though. Her wife is Australian.
okay. Because here it says she was born in Metairie, Louisiana.
Yeah, her wife is Australian. That's the one I looked, and she's
Uh,
48. So
I mean, to be fair,
Google.
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, the thing I'm on this weird thing. And Ellen DeGeneres is 63. That's a bit of an age. And it's not a horrible age gap. It's what, 15
Yeah, it's
years?
15 years. That's alright.
It's not too
I
bad.
I still think like at some point like age genuinely just kind of becomes a number.
Yeah,
Um, she could be a sugar mama. That's entirely possible.
that's very
Wouldn't
true.
surprise
I
me.
mean, I don't think that is true because, her wife, Portea de Rossi,
Yeah.
has had a relatively successful career at this point, I think, with Arrested Development.
Uh,
Mm.
I mean yeah.
So I think
She hasn't really done anything since 2017.
true, but at the same time, I think you've done a good show with Arrested Development. It's probably gotten it's probably gotten a few awards.
Yeah.
Ended. You can afford to sort of think, you know what, it's ended. My wife's making enough money as it is. I think I can just sort of
Yeah, exactly. You don't need more money.
yeah,
So,
fucking rich bitch.
fucking
Rich
wouldn't it be great to be in that kind of situation where you can just like afford not to do anything because your wife
yeah.
is just so fucking successful?
Or someone you know is just so fucking successful and you can just afford to just live. Well, you're a significant other and you just sit there and you go, yeah, this is nice.
See,
All I have to do is
this is the
one day,
thing. Like,
one day, Ron, we'll find sugar mamas.
we'll find sugar mamas. Like that's the thing is like like there was a point where like there were people who said like, oh, men are just terrified of strong career women. It's like no, I think it's a great idea. I think it would be great to like
I think it's
be
a
with
wonderful
someone
idea.
that I genuinely love, obviously, um, Jewish, and also has a career, makes a lot of money, so much that I don't have to work. I sit around the house all day, scratch my nuts a little bit if I have to. She comes home. Hey, how's it going? I didn't do fuck all day. It's great.
Honestly, I've been talking about it with people at work, and someone at work was like, could you see yourself as a stay-at-home husband or dad? I was like, yeah, definitely.
Would be fucking
They're like,
cool, wouldn't
oh,
it?
yeah, it'd be awesome.
What
Don't get me wrong.
you play with a kid all day?
Play
It's
with a
like
kid all day,
here
and
comes the
it's
airplane. Done.
depending on how old they are, they go to sleep early. Or they go to school. You get to sit at home afterwards and just
Yeah.
watch films,
Well, you're gonna have to clean the house. That's the thing.
the house, whatever.
You know,
Yeah, it's fine.
you got to do the
That's all.
laundry. You got to do gardening, maybe a little bit. Even though gardening
And
sounds
I
fun.
mean, what if it's a rich fucking wife? We'll get it made.
Get that done, no worries. Oh, wait, she's rich. Get a nanny. Done.
There you go.
Hey, kiddo, you want a dad? Too bad.
Just imagine the wife comes home and just sees like the nanny taking care of the kid, the two maids cleaning up the house, and she's like, "So I see you've had a very productive day." There's just you just watching television, go, "Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had to do a lot of delegating."
yeah. I'm working on my screenplay.
It's almost finished, I swear.
It's almost finished. I'm just doing research for the last bit. Uh, yeah, I don't see that lasting all that long.
No, it depends. Like, obviously, in the end, you wouldn't get away with just not being able to do nothing. You'd have to do something.
No,
So,
I mean, if I were a stay-at-home dad, I would definitely like take care of the kid because at that point it's like me
yeah,
as well, right?
same.
Like everyone always says, like, oh, kids are tend to be disconnected from their father because he's at work all the time and they don't grow up like having him around all the time. It's like, okay, fine, then let's change that. Let's have the dad around all the time.
Yeah, I would like to be a stand
You
dad.
know,
I think
I'll
that
feed, I'll change their diaper,
random
put them to
thing.
sleep. I mean, put them in bed and wait until they sleep, not anything else.
Maybe a nice dog or cat, depending what your preference is, or both.
If I were a stay-at-home dad, I'd get a dog easy.
Yeah,
You know, you get the time to actually dedicate like spending time with them. You know, at some point, dog has to go wee wee. You take him out to the park with the baby in the
the pusher.
fucking the yes. You know, sounds pretty fucking
Yeah.
ideal to me.
Yeah. Wife comes home from a long day at work, complains that you do nothing, and then you have to sort of stomach it.
No, well, you just go like, I did nothing. Here's the baby. Have fun with it. I'm done.
Going out. I'm gonna go out with my mates.
I'm gonna
Play
go
some
out with
D and
my
D.
mates. I'm gonna play some dangerous D&D. I'm taking the dog with me too. He's playing. I don't know how, but he's playing.
Oh Christ. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh, that
this
was a
is
fun little random tangent.
it. Very much was.
A little bit of insight to who we are as people and what our ideal ending setup is, probably.
See, but this is the thing. Like, we have to talk about these things as well, because we talk about all these things that are happening in the world, but we have a personality too. You know, we have to show that we are somewhat unique in our being, because otherwise, what are we worth as cult post hosts, podcast hosts, cult
God,
pasts? I'm going to start a podcast about
you,
fish, and I'm going to call it cult past.
why is it so funny to
I
me? You
don't
just
know.
simply you mixed around two letters and that was it, and just that was enough.
Cult past.
Oh
Hello, today
wow.
we're talking about Call of Duty 1. Welcome to my cult past.
Don't you mean codcast? No, past.
Called past because the game is old. It's in the past.
Oh, fuck. Why is they're meant to be releasing something new about the next Battlefield this soon?
Oh
I know
yeah,
that much.
go Battlefield 6. Let's see. I sure hope that it's coming because no. Battlefield one day ago Metro it says Battlefield 6 is called Battlefield 2042 and has 128 player battles claims latest leak. It's a leak.
Wait, what's it going to be called? 2042?
Yeah, that's what a leak is
Oh,
saying.
so it's a sequel
It's not
to
confirmed.
the other one, Battlefield 2040 or whatever, 2140 or 2040, whatever it
Something
is.
like that, yeah.
I'll
I
look it
hope
up.
it's good. By the way, I forgot to. Okay, so here's a story.
Okay.
Um, Like, I only know this because we reported on a couple of things that, like, basically, if you don't know, I work at a video game retail store now, and basically, we make videos on YouTube as well. I'll probably put a link in the description, but like, we make videos, we produce content for it that's basically like reviews and new stuff and unboxing and stuff like that. So I know a couple of things here and there because we do research for the new stuff as well. So
Yeah.
here's one story that I think you will find very fucking funny.
Okay.
Um, are you aware of the McDonald's BTS meal?
Vaguely.
So sometimes McDonald's will do a type of meal for a particular celebrity. In this case, it's for the band BTS, where it's, as far as I can tell, it's literally just a meal of chicken nuggets and fries, and that's it.
Okay.
Don't know why you can't just order chicken nuggets and fries, but okay. Anyway, the point of the story is at some point someone ordered one and got a chicken nugget that looked suspiciously like an Among Us crewmate. He then decided to put it in plastic wrap and sell it on eBay. You know what the
Um,
funniest thing is?
it's sold, I'm guessing.
He did
For
for
how much?
almost $100,000. Genuinely, the stupidest thing that I've heard in a very long time. I am going to try and see if I can find the picture because
Just
it only vaguely resembles him.
okay. Of course. So quickly, sorry. Uh, I just found it. Battlefield Live countdown. So that's to the damn thing.
All right.
It's going to go live. It is confirmed. It's meant to be Battlefield 6.
Okay.
Uh,
Check your Discord.
will do.
Welcome to disaster.
Uh,
$100,000 for a nugget that vaguely resembles the Among Us crewmate.
like, because here's the thing: if it were you or me who found that thing, you know what the first thing we would do is we'd be like, "Hey," we'd send a picture to one of us and we'd be like, "Hey, look at this, funny," and we're like, "Oh yeah, it is funny," and then we would eat it. But this
Yeah.
guy had the fucking 300 IQ move to realize that there are some dumb people on the internet who would pay good money for this shit, and he sold it for 100,000.
So the seller
I mean,
noted some details about the oddly shaped nugget. Authentic Among Us shaped chicken nugget that originated from a BTS combo meal. This food product has an average expiration of about 14 days and will be delivered prior to expiration. Whether the rise is a different story. McDonald's Among Us shaped chicken nugget condition is used. Whatever the fuck that means. um, shipped with
there's like a
USPS
big
first class.
bite in it, there's like a chunk missing.
Um,
Oh my Christ.
shipped with. Actually, can I share my screen? That's the real question.
Also, just quickly while you're doing that, the Battlefield Live
Um,
event will be live in 1 day, 2 hours, 1 minute, and 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48. So it's not even going to be live today or tomorrow. Wait, it'll be live tomorrow, I think. Wait, no,
let me
I have no idea.
let me
Time is
close
weird.
this. I accidentally may have leaked some stuff for work, but it's not really important. There it is. The Among Us chicken nugget. It's on screen right now for the
I can't see.
viewers. Yeah, you can't see it unfortunately because we're not actually live. If you've been commenting all this time, by the way, we haven't seen it because it's not live.
We're sorry, but
Yeah, but are we? It is what it is. Sometimes the schedules don't line up. Um, they also engaged in the social media attention listing was getting. Xbox's Twitter replied to the official Among Us Twitter that had posted about it and mentioned that it had better come with Szechuan sauce if it sells for this price. Jokes on them. I have Szechuan, and at buyer's request, we'll ship some with the nugget. So this guy, this seller guy is like a fucking McDonald's collector. Like, this is just what he does.
That's annoying.
This is really annoying. 99,000.
Why would people pay so much?
Could have been
And I'm
us.
hungry. I'm gonna order some food.
That sounds good. I might have to do that in a bit as well.
Sadly, not McDonald's, even though I would try and get a crewmate now.
BTS meal. I think the BTS meal is only in the US and United Arab Emirates.
Weird. Are you sure not in South Korea?
Yeah.
They're
Well, the article the article mentioned the United Arab Emirates.
weird.
I mean, it could be there in South Korea as well.
Yeah. Anyway.
But that's the last interesting story that I can really think of.
Yeah, I think on that weirdly depressing note, we're gonna have to probably look to end things here, guys.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much for watching. If you did watch it live, thank you very much. Well, live, obviously, as live premiere. Thank you very much. Hopefully, we should be back soon to regular streaming schedule. If not, like, we can always look to like change the schedule.
Yeah.
But
That
we'll,
may be the case for everyone, just so people know.
yeah, but even then, like, we're not gonna start the new schedule until like at least a month from now, because I'm gonna be away for a while as well, and then it will be a question mark whether we record more of these episodes as well. We're gonna have to see, and we're gonna have to wait and see, basically. But regardless, we appreciate people coming by. Leave a like if you like the video. That way, we know that we're doing the right thing. And if you very much enjoyed it and haven't been around for long on this channel, maybe give us a subscribe. We like subscribers. That's it. Thank you very much, and see you next week, maybe.
Yep. See you next week, guys. Have a good one.